Hang on. Sorry. I forgot what episode this was.
19.
It's 19. I wrote it down and then I was like, why isn't it not on my thing? It is episode 19. Okay, we're going to go with that. Okay, so hang on. We're going to do this again. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, everyone. Happy Freya. Welcome to episode 19 with the one and only Chelsea Johnson. Chelsea Johnson is a PSYCH, you need to help me with this, and body code and emotion code practitioner.
You got it. Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. And she's also one of my dear friends since high school, which it recently took me to say we've known each other since grade 8.
Yes.
So that was a long time. And we've had, like you said, every class in every year we've had a class together.
Oh, we almost had every single class together.
Okay. And Chelsea is you were my biology buddy for every biology class.
Yeah,
and
I loved it.
You were good at it, and you liked you were good at dissecting. I'm gonna say that. Okay.
Yeah, I did all the dissections. You did all the written work.
Yeah, that was it. I couldn't do the whatever. It's like I felt its pain or something. So it was a good pairing. So I really appreciate that because I was just thinking about that. And yeah, I'm trying to calm myself here because usually when we talk, we get all like super fast and jittery and whatever. So I'm trying to.
Big grounding breaths.
There you go. Okay. So before I get started, I just wanted to share a story. And that was with my own healing journey and how Chelsea was a part of that. And shout out to my friends as well and family and relatives, Randy, Nikki, Terry, yourself, my mom and my dad in spirit realm, and people who have helped me because I was dealing with a very difficult time with grief because both my parents have passed away now. And I remember I just needed to get away for my birthday. So I headed to a cabin out in the forest on the island where Chelsea is in her beautiful home right now. And I'm very fortunate that we met because I was dealing with not only grief, but other things as well that seems to come up. And the pain that I had was behind my heart area, like on my back. And that's when I knew, healers help other healers as well. So to accept help. And I knew that the back is always a place that you can't reach.
It's also where you receive love.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. So you came over to that cabin. We had the fire roaring and you helped me with that by using these techniques and these methodologies. So I just wanted to share that because it was a very profound and I'm thankful that I've had that experience with you. So I just wanted to share that with people so they get to know you more. All right. So now that, can you just share with us actually what PSYCH and body code and emotion code are? And in addition to that, if you could actually talk about why you sought out those modalities for your own healing journey.
Of course. So PSYCH, which we'll talk about first, it's your subconscious beliefs. So I don't know if many people know this, but most of your subconscious beliefs are formed before the age of 3. So you are probably and most likely running off of old subconscious beliefs that don't suit who you are today. So you can notice when people are running off a subconscious belief. Say that somebody says something that, it's just very mild, but it's an irritant of theirs. And they, without thinking about it, they just automatically respond with a very snippy comment. That's running off an old subconscious belief. Your subconscious says when A happens, I react in B. And it's so we don't have to spend tons of time processing that. Like if we had to think about every single thing that was said to us every single time, it would be very big gaps before we responded. So sometimes these are not working in our favor. Say we're trying to lose weight. We want to find a loved one in our lives. We want to create a change, like exercising every day. And we try and we try and we try, and we're just not getting anywhere. So you can use PSYCH to help reprogram into your subconscious mind the thing you actually want instead of the thing that you've learned a long time ago. And that way you can move forward more productively. It's almost like a super boost to a mantra. You know, that mantra you keep saying to yourself in the mirror every day, you can just get that in there right away.
Okay. And that was just Psych-K, which is psychology and kinesiology, you're saying,
yeah,
correct?
Psychology and kinesiology together form Psych-K. Yeah. So that's
and
Psych-K.
then what is body and emotion code?
Body and emotion code, they kind of can be combined together, but we'll talk about emotion code quickly. So emotion code is every time we have a feeling that we express, it releases and we left us. But sometimes when we're at work or something and you want to cry, but you can't do it in front of everybody at work, you suppress that and you hold it down and you trap it in your body to deal with later. But later never really comes because we haven't been trained on or taught how to release that later on.
Right.
So it just goes in there and it takes away any trapped emotions, negative trapped emotions we have stored in our body to help restore balance. And body code is very similar to this, but instead of doing emotions, it's trapped energies that we've experienced in our environment. So say you took an Advil once and that had a bad energy. You had a virus, although the virus is gone, it could have left an energy in you. You were in a place that had a lot of fumes because, you know, you were traveling and you're stuck by lots of exhaust. That can create a trapped energy. Anything that we come in contact can create a negative trapped energy that gets inside of us. So it's just going in there and removing all those.
So what led you to seeking out these modalities in your own life?
Well, I went through turmoil as everybody has, and most people who make a big change in their life go through. My partner's family didn't like me, and he took him a long time to share this with me because he has a hard time with this type of thing. And so once he did, it was like a make or break situation. He's like, you're going to have to change or this is not going to work. Okay. I let him know that their feelings about me were their own and not anything to do with me. I did appreciate that it was affecting him though. And I let him know that I felt like my insides did not reflect on my outsides very well. And that was something I wanted to change for me. And I was willing to do that. And so I went down the road to Ayurveda, and that was the way I decided to do this. I was doing it for about a year, and I decided that with everything I'd learned, I could help other people. But first, I felt I needed a modality. So I did a bunch of research. I came across Psych-K. It sounded amazing. And in the process of finding Psych-K, I also found emotion code and then body code. So I wanted to be able to have something that I could help my clients out with.
And how did that impact your life after, like, let's say in that incident, how did that help?
The finding Psych-K and emotion code?
Yeah. With how did that help with the dynamic between you and your partner?
Oh, it's helped.
If you don't mind sharing, it helped.
Not at all. I used to be a person who suffered from anxiety. So situations like that were uncomfortable for me. Situations even in this family were uncomfortable for me. Removing trapped emotions, I cannot explain to you. I don't have anxiety anymore. It's just not even a fathom in my life. I just removed every single trapped emotion that had to do with that. My native ancestry had a big dealing behind why that anxiety was there. Obviously, removing inherited trapped emotions, getting down to the core, healing my ancestral damage at the same time, and just being able to vibrate at my own frequency, my own level, and moving from there forward just helped immensely. And then using Psych-K to lock my true beliefs, my true feelings in instead of the ones that, you know, I was raised with and learned.
Congratulations on that, Chelsea, because those are like some really deep rooted, not only just emotions, but like belief systems that many people have. And the fact that you took the courage to say, I'm going to face these and then go on that journey, that healing journey to go do the work on that while you're with your partner and kind of balancing everything out. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Chelsea's like a total alpha go-getter in her life, and she just gets things done. And so it's like you took that determination with you in kind of in healing your past and building a better future for yourself in a present life.
Indeed. So. And what was nice is I had tried lots of other things before, you know, talking with people, counselors and things like that, going to hypnotherapy. At one point I was even on medication. You know, I had a diagnosis and I was able to take into my own hands this, and that with Psych-K, even though I am a practitioner and I help guide you, it's still you taking your healing into your own hands. So it, you know, It's very it's you getting to change it.
Can you talk about the power of emotions? Like we were talking about just the whole range and what kind of generalities of like how each one has an insight or a lesson to be learned from?
Of course. So there's every feeling, emotion has a vibration. So negative feelings have a lower vibration, positive feelings have a higher vibration. We tend to always experience our higher vibration feelings because like when you're happy, you smile. When you're laughing, when you're really good, you're laughing, you're showing joy. We always get those ones out because we've been taught like it's great to smile. It's fun. Enjoy that, right? Share it with others. But we've been taught very often that the negative emotions, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. But the thing is, you should do that. You have them. You need to honor them and express them. People often don't like the negative emotions though, because it makes other people feel bad. So like if I got angry, that might make you uncomfortable. But that is okay because that's temporary. It's not like I'm going to be angry forever. And then I am not trapping that down where it can manifest into worse symptoms, where it can start as aches and pains and then lead to chronic things, and then even to like proliferations of cells and things like that. So we're not trapping them down. And when we trap these negative emotions, like attracts like. So if I have trapped that anger, I'm going to trap more anger into my life and then possibly trap those again. So we want to try to express those negative emotions, release them healthily, and move forward and on. And I find once you've released all trapped emotions, you just don't, you learn what a trapped emotion feels like then. Because you can actually feel it, and you felt them before when you were a little kid, when you had that like pain in your knee for no reason. You're like, ow, that's a trapped emotion, right? But we just don't know. People are like, oh, it's like growing pain or whatever, but it's not. It's a trapped emotion.
So how would you deal with something like, okay, the two ones that come up are like anger and sadness, right? And we're talking about this before. You had a really good one for sadness. Like even expressing that in like a work environment. What's the message behind that emotion and how to express it and acknowledge it? And even anger, that's one that I worked on as well. We worked on that one too, because it's just like trying to find out where it's coming from, what the cause is, and then also, learning how to express it in a healthy way and then coming back, right? Coming back to find a solution for it.
Yeah. So with sadness, like just say, for example, you're in a big boardroom meeting and you feel like crying. Something's been said that made you cry, but you can't cry right then. That's understandable. You're in a professional setting. You don't want to cry in front of anybody.
You can.
You can, but you might not want to, and it might not look professional. So you just might shove that down. What you need to do at that moment is tell yourself, I understand I need to cry. I'm going to come back to this, but we can't do it right now. And that's fine. So once you're back off into your office and you're shut away, you can say to yourself, hey, I understand I needed to cry. Do I still need to cry? And maybe you do, and maybe you don't. And that's fine either way. If you do, cry and it's done. If you don't, be like, okay, I understand I need to cry. I don't need to cry anymore, but let's talk about this. Like what happened there? And you're like, well, so-and-so said this thing that I took really personally. Well, why did I take it really personally? Were they saying it directed at me? Even if they were saying it directed at you, why did I come up with that feeling? And talk it out and resolve it. Be like, okay, I understand. I see where you're coming from. I understand it. I'm ready to let it go and get it out.
Okay.
And you can do this for any feeling. You can do it for feelings you've had 20 years ago, if you remember.
Right.
But like, if it's something you're holding on to.
That's insightful. I just want to say that's really insightful because I think that's like the money shot, so to speak. It's actually because many people don't have the time to express it or it comes up. And then, usually I can kind of detect something's coming up and then I'll be like, okay, yeah, and then I'll have to wait it out for a bit. And before you're talking about shortening the time.
Yeah. So that's with the anger. So number one, I want to express, like in our culture, we've often been taught that anger is wrong. We shouldn't express anger. But oftentimes, in order to get out of lower states, which depression is a lower state than anger, we need to pass through anger to get higher up. And sometimes, so when you're in depression, anger is a great feeling to have. Anger means you're coming out of that depression. You're moving up the ladder. So have that anger and express it. But try not to express it at people. But if so you do, like explain to somebody, like, I'm coming out of a dark place. I might be angry sometimes. It's not anything personal. Like our friends and our family should understand that. That's what we're here for, right? And so anger can be really good for that. And it's releasing things. So like depression, you're not releasing anything. You're just down there in the deep depths, right? Anger is getting things out. You're delving that stuff out.
It has movement. It has motion.
Yes, it has movement. It has motion. You're getting rid of some of those trapped, terrible emotions. You're getting them out and releasing them, and which means you can climb up higher. So my advice to you is don't stay in anger too long, though. You like experience it, and you might dip back up and down, but trying to decrease the amounts of anger you feel over time. So it's a great way is if you're angry in a situation and you're talking with somebody that you love and you're like, okay, I'm just going to take a step out for a minute and walk away from it. Feel your anger. Be angry, like kick and scream and punch if you need to. Pillows are great for that. And get it out but come back and then resolve what was happening in that situation. And, the first time you step away might be for half an hour, but try and make it 20 minutes the next time and try and make it down to 10 and try and make it down to 5 and try and make it down to the point where maybe at some point you're just not feeling angry anymore, which is not saying don't ever feel angry, but you're working on choosing the emotions you feel because we choose how we feel. Like I said to you, the one example, somebody come up, I was slapping you in the face. Like, here's just 3 examples of how somebody could react to that. One person can laugh and be like, what was that about? Another person could cry because now they've been hurt and they're like, ow, I'm hurt. And another person might get really raged and angry, right? But in each scenario, those people chose the way they felt. So no one can make you angry. You decide to be angry. So what I'm saying is try and choose a different feeling.
That's really big.
Yeah.
That's
but
big.
If you feel angry, get it out.
Yeah, just give that a moment. Hang on, that's really big. So the first thing was, I'm trying to even imagine a society that actually honors the emotion of anger, right? And kind of respects it and gives it the space for the person to express it safely and then come back to it, right? And talk it out. Second thing, the fact that it was a choice, right? That's a really big concept because people feel like emotions are intrusive. Yeah. It's coming up, it's bubbling inside of me, it's something that's happening to me. And you're coming out here and pardon?
That's a learned behavior.
Okay. See, there you go.
Off of a subconscious belief where you've learned that in this situation I get angry. And you learn that you have a false belief that it is the other person's fault. You have made me angry. They didn't make you angry. You chose to be angry about what happened.
Okay. And the other thing I wanted to say was, okay, that's really good. Hang on. There's so many things going on. You're not saying for people who are listening in to not feel anger anymore.
If you feel anger, get it out. Express it, be angry, get it out. What I'm saying is, but slowly and progressively teach yourself to choose a new feeling. I'm not saying you'll never feel angry again. Like, you know what the best one when you feel a negative feeling came up? Choose curiosity. I wonder why this person is being unkind to me. I wonder what they are going through right now that's causing them to act this way.
Okay, this is good. That is good. I also do one as well, which is I call it having a love affair with myself, as in like being curious with myself, as in why did that bother me?
Yeah, that's also
what's coming up for me that I reacted that way. Because reactions are tough to kind of deal with, right? We live in an action reaction kind of zone. And then once you bring an awareness to it, that's what you're doing is you're breaking.
But that's where Psych K can come in and help like instantly with that. But the thing is too, is once you choose to feel differently, when you see other people get angry, you realize how uncomfortable it is for that person. It doesn't really affect the person you were angry with. It really affects you. So now when I see people get angry, I'm like, ooh, that looks really uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm glad I don't feel that way anymore.
And the other thing you were talking about in regards to like depression, right? Depression and anger. I had a visual, like depression's almost like, again, respecting and honoring the emotions and where they come from and where they stem from. But if we're using like the water analogy, it's like depression kind of is like this pond or a pool and it's just like this, it just stays there, maybe a bit like stagnant water.
Yeah.
Whereas anger, like you said, is the next one up above and you're getting out of it. right? You're expressing it, and that's like the river streaming through it and just moving it out, flowing it out of the body, right?
But we need to be careful too, because we can drop down to anger, especially back down to depression, especially when people stifle that anger. People like in society, we've all heard it, don't be angry. But the real reason people saying don't be angry is because you're making me uncomfortable. So what we're saying is, don't make me uncomfortable, hide that and hold it in. No, do be angry. If you need to be angry, be angry. Your anger doesn't affect me. Your anger only affects you.
It's the point of where people in society can get to not only just honoring that and creating a space for it to be expressed, but also not, what is it called? Being uncomfortable by it. That takes a process, right? Which is what you assist and help people with, to let that person shout it out, punch a pillow, whatever it is. And then just actually be in a state of witnessing it and knowing, like you just said, it doesn't have anything to do with me per se.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And a fun way to do this, and way I used to do with my partner, is I would just tell him, I want to have a temper tantrum right now. Like, I just want to yell. And so I'll scream at him in a funny way. I'm like, I'll even if they do, I need to argue with you right now. He's like, well, I'm not arguing with you. And I'll be like, but I want to argue with you. He's like, you're not getting an argument from me.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. So you have
what do you do when he says, no, I don't want it? And you're like, I want to throw my tantrum.
But that's him having an argument with me.
You did. Johnson, seriously.
And if I want to have a temper tantrum, I do. He's like, go ahead, have a temper tantrum. And I'll fall on the floor and I'll kick and scream. There's a reason why children do it. Children know innately how to get rid of that. And so they have their little temper tantrum. They fall to the ground, they kick and they scream, and it's over. They've released that energy. But when we become adults, we're taught, well, that's not proper and we shouldn't do that. Well, why shouldn't we?
What if anger makes me laugh? Okay.
Anger makes lots of people laugh.
Because I know where it's coming from and it's ridiculous, but it makes me laugh.
That's a good way to get it out. And it's a positive way of getting it out. People love when people laugh.
That was a good thing too, though, with the tantrum and the kids, because you're a teacher, right? Your background is in teaching.
Yeah.
Elementary school kids, right?
Yeah, elementary and even the daycare age.
Yeah. And so, this is really good, Johnson. Seriously, I love this because it's such an honor to put this conversation out there, because I think there's a lot of emotions coming out for people, and it's nice that I get to showcase people such as yourself, and that we have these conversations so people can reach out. And this is groundbreaking. I really appreciate this. This is good. Thank you for that.
I'm glad.
Okay.
Often people want advice, often people want advice, and I just tell them, you need to just look at children. You need to look at how children do it, because they innately know. They have not been taught all the preconceptions of it's right to do this, it's wrong to do that, you should do this, you shouldn't do that.
Parents and guardians do that. Like, say if you're throwing a tantrum at Walmart, right? Then you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be throwing a tantrum at Walmart.
No, but you should let your kid throw a tantrum at Walmart if that's what they need to do, so you can get on with your day. And thank God for the parents that do allow their kids to do that and don't judge them. They're doing the right thing when they turn their back and they just let that play out until it's done.
Okay, this is good. I like this. Okay, I like where this is going. When I was at the playground, I was taking my nephews, right? So we're going to provide some examples here. I was taking my nephews out to the playground, and one threw a tantrum, right? He was just upset about something. Again, it didn't have anything to do with me. I already knew that, right? The other ones wanted to play, and I wanted to play with them. I want to go have fun on the playground, right? I mean, I want to play too. And he's just like, I don't want to do this. And whatever. So all I said was like, hey, you know what? I totally get you. And I said, there's a playground over there. You can go let it out over there. And we're going to stay here and we're going to have fun. And once you're done with whatever it is that you want to do, you can come join us and have fun.
Exactly.
And I kid you not, 5-10 seconds, that kid turned around and started jumping on the playground.
Because they've realized that it's not affecting everyone else. It's only affecting them.
So does that bother them?
No. Well, I mean, it bothers them to be like, why am I sitting here making myself miserable when everyone else is having a good time? I might as well just turn this around and go have a good time. But they let it out. They got it out and let it out. And they're like, cool, I should just go have a good time. Because their anger did not affect you guys. You guys went on with your lives. They got to deal with their anger, and then they came back to life.
Okay, that's Oh, that's good, Johnson. Can you describe how, with your practice, you helped somebody with either their emotions or their belief system or something in a very profound way? And I know you do it many times, and you've helped me. So if you have one that you would like to share, again, respecting confidentiality and privacy.
Of course. I had a client that was dealing with very severe bipolarism. Again, diagnosis, not the best things in the world, because then people believe that and we have to overcome that belief and work past it. But with doing emotion code, we went in and we delved in, and the amount of trapped emotions this client had that were not their own. They were trapping absorbed trapped emotions. So obviously in situations where somebody was showing strong emotions, they didn't know what to do. They were uncomfortable with it. And so a lot of people will do this in order to try and help. They will absorb that person's emotion. And it's one of the worst trapped emotions you can have in your body. It doesn't resonate at your frequency because it's not your emotion. It's somebody else's.
Right.
And so no wonder why this person was dealing with so much stress. They were not able to make friends. They weren't able to go out and get a job. They weren't living a healthy, normal lifestyle in our terms of speaking normal. And so after removing all their trapped emotions using emotion code, this person was able to get out and socialize. They got a job. They're, sticking to a 9-to-5 schedule and making it there in time. And just the level of calmness and peace this has brought this person. And they're still not completely finished, still working with me, doing a body code now. But it was a profound effect and allowed them to live more comfortably.
And no, that's good. Thank you for that. Yeah, no, that was, and we talked about like what are some of the most challenging emotions, and you said a diagnosis, not emotions, two of the most challenging, not the challenging cases that come up. One of them was, remember we were talking about that previously? One was like diagnosis in your practice that it's kind of like hard to kick, and there was another one too.
We are what we believe, right? So, I mean, if you told yourself like, oh, I only have so much time to live, there's a very good chance that you will tell your body that, your body will believe it, and that's the path it's going to take. So when somebody gets a diagnosis, they can come and work with me for sure, and we'll get past that, but it makes it harder because that is now a belief you have. You have a belief that you have this certain thing. And then we have to work on getting rid of that belief as well as getting rid of the symptoms that are causing that. So the symptoms that you have in your body is a message trying to tell you something. So, you might have symptoms of arthritis, for example. It's your body trying to say, hey, we've got stuff in here that is not serving us well. We need you to do work and get rid of it. Like symptoms are a message.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. Okay, good. All right, we're going to switch gears here a bit. And I am so thoroughly appreciating this conversation. It's so cool. We're going to switch gears into star seeds because we chat. I know, right? We chatted about this and I didn't even know until, it was like yesterday or 2 days ago when we did like our just chat. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I want to put this out there. And you're like open and sharing it, which I love because this is so cool. And it's just kind of recognizing in your life, when did you know that you were a starseed and how did you know that? Before we get into
I found out about 2.5 years ago that I was a starseed. I didn't know. I had a acquaintance come to me and they knew I was having a hard time. And they said, if you need anything help. So I went to them and said, sure, I need some help. And they were like dumbfounded because when we say, oh, if you need anything, we're not expecting somebody to say yes. And so right? Yes. Yeah, I said yes. I wouldn't normally, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to say yes. I do need help. And she was like, oh, she was kind of taken aback. She didn't know what to do. She's like, oh, how about I gift you with a psychic reading? And I said, sure. Okay. Yeah. And in that, she asked me about my childhood. And much like you, Pam, I don't remember very much about my childhood. I let her know I'm like, nothing bad has happened in my childhood. I don't have any abuse or anything where I'm pushing things back. I just don't remember. And so she asked me a couple other questions about technology and things like that. And she goes, oh, I see what's happening here. I said, oh, okay, what is it? She's like, you're a starseed. And I'd never heard of it before. And I'm like, okay, I'm a starseed. Okay. And she's like, it explains lots of this and that. And she explained it all. And so when I got off the session with her, I looked it up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a starseed. So
what are some of the symptoms of being a starseed? I'm not even going to call it that, but it's just a joke, right? Like what are some of the things identify that you're like, oh my gosh, I relate to
Well,
that?
not fitting in. You know me at high school, really didn't fit in, was bullied quite a bit. Not fitting in, always looking for a sense of home, but not finding that. Just, being really different. I was really different. I was really out there. I had different ideas and different expectations and different goals and just kind of sticking out like a sore thumb, really. You're really good with technology. I have no reason why I should be really good with technology, but I've always been very adept at computers and phones and things like that. Even people are like, I'm having this problem. I'm like, oh, let me just grab it. I'll just fix it for you. And there's no reason why I do know this. And just I found after my 30s, a lot of things were just coming to me. And I'm like, I don't even know why I know this information. Like in my 30s, I'm like, I knew every single name of every single flower. And I don't garden. I never really had much people that did, but my partner would check up on his phone. He's like, what's that flower? And I tell him, and he's like, you're right. I'm like, what's that flower? I'm like, I don't know why I know any of this.
That is so cool, though. That is so cool. Okay. So once and then you said you also started remembering your past lives too, correct? Before?
Yeah. Started knowing just, and things just started coming to me and I knew, but yeah, my past life, then that's how I knew I was the Lyran starseed. My home planet was destroyed, and my 8 lives after that life have all been devoted to the cause for that, is connecting our solar system.
Okay, so what happened? Now I want to dive into this. What happened in the Lyra constellation?
So at Lyra, we were a telepathic community. We were very connected. No one ever felt lonely. We all knew we were important and loved. And there's another race, another planet that saw this and really wanted it, and they believed it was something they could have, they could obtain. And we, when they came for us, they said, we want this, and it wasn't something we could give them. And they're like, well, no, you need to give it to us. And they didn't really understand the correlation. It was something we couldn't give. It's something that could be taught, but they didn't want to take, and many of us don't want to take the time to learn and change. We just want it now. We want the physical things. Give it to me now. And so because of this, it was the last galactic war. It broke out and our planet was destroyed.
That's sad. That's sad.
It's always sad when anything is destroyed, right? It affects the whole collective consciousness. So our planet was destroyed. We were sent off on pods. We didn't get to be with our loved ones, and we had to break our telecommunication ties. So you're on a pod with 7 other beings of your planet, but you can't connect anymore because we weren't taught how to connect verbally. We were just connected mentally with everyone, and we had to break that off for our safety. And so you're just very isolated. You're out in the deep depths of space by yourself, even though you were with 7 other community members. You just didn't know how to connect that way verbally.
And you left on, because it sounded like it was an emergency evacuation, so you left in spaceships.
Yeah, we did.
And you were actually separated from your partner, right? He was in another one, and you were. Yeah,
and my parents. Yeah, my partner and my parents.
Oh. So, and what happened? Okay, so what is your mission here then on Earth, knowing that you're a starseed, and how do you connect that with your life's purpose?
So after about 8 to 10 years, we landed on a planet, and so that planet is the planet I'm sent to after that. So it was a very industrialized planet. They were what I call raping and pillaging the planet for mining purposes. And so we lived the rest of our life out there. And now we're sent back to planets that are very similar to that. Does it sound much like Earth to you?
So why were you sent to planets like that?
So we're going back to each of the planets, all the Lyrans, and we're going to connect them like we were connected on our planet. We're teaching that connection. We're raising the vibration of the planet so that hopefully in the end, everybody in the Milky Way galaxy will be connected as one.
That's a beautiful message. Come on now. It's not an easy task, but it's a beautiful message.
It's not, but we just do it. We just help one person at a time. And I'm hoping that, with my energy healing practice, that I can, fulfill my dharmic purpose here and help others raise their vibration and so on and so forth, like a domino effect.
Okay. And I know you mentioned a race, and, sometimes people don't want to get into who's fighting who in what star system, because it was in the past or whatever, and obviously races could change and give them an opportunity to do so. But what was the race and why did they do it?
It was a reptilian race, and they did it because they wanted that connection, that closeness, that support and security, like we all do. And they thought it was something they could take. They were so remorseful afterwards that they destroyed the beautiful thing that they were trying to achieve for themselves. They not only did they not get it, but they destroyed it from being there. We don't hold any grudges. It's not something that can be undone. They learned their lesson and they were remorseful, and that was what was important.
Okay. Thank you. I like that message because it's really one of like unconditional love. And I think that's what creator is unconditional love. And so when you infuse that, I do believe that love is a substance and it's a verb. And I'm understanding that now, that it has the ability to transform.
Yes. And
it has
the
power.
Hate. Yeah, and if people hold on to hate, which I consider a 4-letter word and I don't often say, but people hold on to that, it's only affecting them.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It's their own self-poison.
Yeah, exactly.
So knowing about your past lives and your starseed life and you're here on Earth, how do you stay grounded?
Oh, I connect daily to the divine. I connect daily to my mother. I can do it through a guided meditation that I have. I also can provide that to clients, but I also do it by actually being out there, being outside, connecting with my mother, speaking to my father above, the divine, however you want to name it.
Yeah.
And just making sure I have daily connection and a lot of breath. Breath is so important.
It is important. That's what I'm learning again too sometimes. So I have people kindly remind me that. What is your message for humanity?
My message just for humanity is raise your vibration.
Because you're here on purpose. That's why.
I want very much on purpose.
Yeah.
My favorite quote that comes to mind is, change yourself and you will change the world. I know that sometimes we can get stuck in the misery we know because it's comfortable. We know this misery and we're afraid of change because what if we don't like it? But I can guarantee you that your change will feel better than your misery that you're comfortable in now. And if you don't like the first change, you can make a second change or a third change and a fourth change. And each time you decide to make that change, you will feel better and better and better until you find that place and that change that you vibrate in and you love. And it's work. Beautiful. It is work, but it's so worth it.
Yeah. It is work. And I like how you said that because it's like the risk of not changing is far worse than the change itself. So, and then adaptation, as you said, to keep pushing yourself further and further. I love that. That's really beautiful. I love that. So what projects are... Yeah.
Sorry, just one more thing to my fellow practitioners. I cannot advise anymore that doing self-work is so important as well. We sometimes forget about ourselves.
It's hard. Oh man, that's a good one. That is a really good one because I remember in university, one of the professors I liked, he had us play like an empathy game, which was like, what was it? We had to sit across from a student and we had to just listen about their day and we couldn't provide a solution. We had to say, that was hard. That must have been rough for you. That was tough, right? And then he's like, sometimes you get it wrong. And maybe it wasn't tough for them. Maybe it was something else. And then you can't internalize that. And you're like, okay, so, you kind of switch gears with that. And now there was something I was going to say about him. What were we talking about prior to this? Oh, yeah.
Working on yourself.
Hard. Yeah. Working on yourself is hard because in the healing community, and you can add whatever you want to this, it's like, I think there's a false belief and premise that, this is just me saying this, but I feel that all healers have the answers. We don't. We just go through life experience. We channel what we can through the divine, right? And we just do our best to provide what we can. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is it's a co-creative experience with the client because I always learn something new every day, right? The divinity within me speaks to the divinity within you. And then the other thing is, it's hard work. It is hard work. And then I have to ask for help. And that
is
was
sometimes hard to do for people. But you know what? And you will always be your hardest client. I was always my hardest client because you're playing a dual role. You're being the practitioner and the client at the same time. And it's hard. But once you more practice you get, the easier it comes. But it's so important. You need to stay healthy. You need to be doing the work for you so you can stay on track with your clients. Eventually, if you keep working on your clients and they're doing climbing, and you're staying here, they're going to need to go elsewhere to get another practitioner because you're no longer at the level they need you to be at.
Okay, that's insightful. And the other thing, now I remember why I brought him up, and I don't know why I can't remember his name, it escapes me, but he was a therapist, that professor, and I just was like so profound when he said, I see a therapist. And I'm like, what? A therapist sees a therapist? Like that was, it was just like one of those things that he's like, yeah, I need somebody to help keep me in check so that I can, like you just said, provide help and rise myself. Like we're all growing. So that's really cool. So what kind of projects are you working on now? I know you're working on something. So I just thought, give you an opportunity to share that.
I am currently writing a book. It's Where We Went Wrong, The Journey Back to Yourself. So that's coming out soon. I also work with my clients. And so I create my own modalities as well as modalities for them. So if I have a client that comes to me and they're like, I'm looking for this and I can't find it anywhere, I work with the divine. Solution. Yeah, I channel. We come up with a solution for them. And many of the modalities that I've created for clients are now part of my repertoire. So it's not just like a body code and emotion code. I have some own specialized modalities. So if you're in a realm where you're like, I can't find somebody that can do this thing I need, I'm here for you.
Okay, cool. And I have provided Chelsea's website below in the link. And for those of you listening to audio, check out the link below to her website so you can connect with her. And I just want to say, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your full transparency and honesty and just being so bold and talking about your life and the courage it takes to do that. So
anytime. I believe that if I suffered through turmoil or I did something that was hard, it was all worth it as long as I can help others along their journey.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody listening in, and stay tuned for more cosmic interviews. Bye.
Thank you, Pam.